Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Asraful Syifaa Ahmad, and currently I'm in semester 4. My supervisor is Dr. Rahayanti Hassan, and also my co-supervisor is Dr. Nur Hidayah Zakaria. Both of them are here in this meeting too. So we proceed. So here are the outlines. So we'll start with the introduction. Before that, my research title is Enhanced Multimodal Emotion Detection with Fusion of Features. So basically, background for the background of study, we divided into three criteria. First is emotion recognition itself. Second, unimodal approach, and lastly is multimodal approach. So in emotion itself actually has been a subject to philosophy long before it was covered in other disciplines. So other disciplines are psychology, science, and also computer science. Previous researchers do categorize or classify the emotion expression into several common emotions such as neutral emotion, angry, fear, sad, happy, surprise, and disgust. And currently, we have a lot of interactive learning technologies, which most of them was not able to find better way to analyze the emotion at real time in an e-learning environment. So the previous researcher do have unimodal approach. Unimodal approach is kind of we are using single modality as the input. It means that we have one type of input. Usually the input is common biometric such as eye, facial, speech, text, behavioral, and also EEG. However, this detection is lacking in the analysis where we don't have we don't have we do have, but most of the databases are being set up dependently. So what is dependently I will explain later. So next we also have multimodal approaches. Multimodal approaches is a kind of approach that used to resolve the problem of single modality. So it usually we use two or more modality in one approach to help to gain a better emotion expression. So the combination or the hybrid of both biometric can be done in three main levels, which are feature level fusion, decision level fusion, and lastly hybrid fusion. So for hybrid fusion, it's a combination of feature level and also decision level. It means we do the fusion at two phase, at feature level phase and also decision level phase. However, previous researchers do found a few issues in this matter, where first issues that had been raised is how to select the most suitable modality, how to know which biometric is the best one to use in order to express the emotion. Second one is we have a lack of database that prepare two or more modalities, or the other word is we have lack of multimodal database itself. So because of this, researcher will tend to collect their own data, and when we have that, it means that the validity of the data can be questioned. Next, when developing a model, researcher will face a problem in handling missing data, different sampling rates, and modality in the interdependency. This is because the modality used, the biometric use is different in terms of representation. And previous researcher also faced a problem to combine both modality because the type of representation itself. So here is the problem statement. We do highlight a few challenges for this research. So here are the challenges. First of the lack of multimodal database. Second is low accuracy in facial recognition. This is because real world scenario shows that dynamic environment factors such as facial obstacle, the pose of the facial itself, and the differences in terms of distance between the camera and face also can cause the accuracy low. So back to what I said before, that about databases that have that been set up dependently. It means that the database itself will use a subject that have to mimic the expression. The subject, the person, the facial expression itself need to mimic, such as mimic the angry expression, mimic the sad expression, and then the process to capture the image is being set up in a lab. So most of the subject will have no facial obstacle, will have no problem in distance between camera and face because it all been like a constant variable. Okay, so next challenges is in terms of text modality, where people from different culture would use different types of words to express emotion. So it's we may face a problem where a whole sentence might bring a different meaning instead of the exact meaning. So the next problem is synergy of the two modalities. Like being stated before, that it's been faced due to the different representation of the modality itself. So for this research, we plan to combine between facial expression images and also the text modality in order to determine the emotion of a person. In this term, in this research, we will use a student emotion expression. So my first research objective is to improve existing multimodal emotion detection framework by fusing facial expression image with text modality in order to gain a better accuracy. Next is to enhance the facial expression emotion extraction by identifying meaningful statistical features of facial expression image and develop the optimal features to overcome the issues of facial occlusion and different distance facial from camera. And lastly, we try to modify the LSTM model for text emotion detection in order to achieve suitable contextual information. So this is basically the significance of this research. For computational aspect, it will improve the existing method, while for educational aspect, we plan to determine the effectiveness of the teaching session, where we can see the student involvement during the online class, either he or she do focus or being distracted or not. So from here, we can also measure, we can also help lecturers to measure the effectiveness of the way they delivered the subject. And the other aspect is this research can help in during online interview session, and also can be used to help in health aspect, especially in mental health detection. So we proceed to the literature review. So we basically have 4 sections. So for first one is emotion itself. So Paul Ekman already categorized the basic 6 emotion. However, expression may have ambiguous emotions interpretation, where someone may express the same emotion in different ways. For example, when someone is crying, this actually can be lead into 2 types of emotion, which is first is he or she may be too happy, or second one, he or she is sad. So it will cause ambiguity in the algorithm. Next is emotion detection in online education. Academic emotion is like a kind of non-intellectual factors that closely related to the teaching and learning process. So it is important to know the academic emotion in order to know that the student is in a good condition or not. So many studies has found that academic emotion do affect students psychological flexibility, self-regulated learning, and also academic performance. Where academic performance can be divided into 2 types, either it's positive or negative. Researchers also found that academic emotion do affect students' mental health. So it kind of related to the student's subjective, well, it okay or not in terms of well-being. So next is multimodal fusion emotion detection. That I've been told before that it can be divided into 3 category of level. First is feature level fusion, second is decision level fusion, and lastly is hybrid. So this is previous study about the feature level fusion, followed by decision level fusion, and lastly is the hybrid one. So based on the comparison, we could conclude that hybrid of fusion is the best one, which it can help in overcome the issues facing the issues in face and also in text in terms of synergy, where most of the problem in multimodal approaches is in terms of synergy of both multimodal. So based on previous study, this method is the best one. Okay. Next is facial expression in emotion detection. So here are some issues in facial expression recognition. We have illumination factor, it's like a shadow. Expression intensity that may shows that the picture or images might be too dark or too light. Facial occlusion, where the subject has obstacle in front of the face, may wearing spectacles, scarf or cap that can uh, cause cause expression being disturbed. And we also have inconsistency distance, where the face or the distance between the face and the camera might be different. So when it's happened, the resolution might be different, resolution of the image might be different, and lastly is the low resolution of images itself. So these are the 5 factors, 5 issues that we will face in term when we dealing with real world situation in collecting facial expression. So here are some of the facial expression databases. And we could see here that most of database are being set up. It's mean dependent setting, where images being mimic towards the emotion. And we can see here only a few databases that collect real world situation expression in expression, where most of the images are being collected from the Google. So next is text-based modality. Here are the issues in text-based modality. We have micro-emotions, language representation, and also lastly is complexity. So these three, based on previous study, these three is the common one, the common problem in text-based recognition, no matter what area it are. So based on the literature review, these are the summary of the gaps. So we can conclude that multimodal fusion, from the aspect of multimodal fusion, we can see we have gaps in terms of lack of databases that combine both modality, facial and also text. And also we have gaps in correct level of fusion need to configure to ensure the accuracy of classification. While in the facial expression recognition aspect, regarding the data set, issues that occurs is caused by real-time environment. So in this research, it will consider its online state, where we will highlight the problems such as face occlusion, low resolution image, and also distance of face from the camera. And lastly, in text-based modality aspect, issues in text where a word might contain ambiguity. This is because of the way we express the opinion, and also the usage of words that might be depends on the culture of a subject. So we proceed with the methodology. So here are the research framework that consists of 5 phases. And based on the objectives, there are 3 plans where we plan to do. So for first objective, we plan to apply fusion of facial expression images and text-based modality at feature level first. This will help to solve low accuracy of classification of facial expression image and also text-based modality. For second objective, we plan to determine the most optimal statistical features for all type of emotion. So this will help to solve problem in facial expression images, which will have might have face occlusion, different distance between faces, camera, and also low resolution image. And lastly, for objective 3, we plan to extract the relevant features and clearer comprehensibility of the extracted feature prior to emotion. So for this one, will help in extracting suitable contextual information. So these are the these are the data set that will be used. So we have academic emotion. So for academic emotion, we will choose to use, we choose to use focus, confidence, distracted, confusion, and also neutral emotion. While for facial expression data set, for training purposes, we will use FER, Facial Expression Recognition 2013 data set. While for testing process, we will collect the facial images in online classes during the online classes. Next, for text data set, we will use WordNet Effect data set and also Malaya data set. This to help in case the student use Malay word to represent emotion. While for testing process, we will prepare a set of feedback form and we will given during the online classes. Okay. Next, the evaluation metrics. Here are the evaluation metrics. So further metrics will be discovered along the process. So for now, we have classification accuracy, sensitivity, and also specificity. Okay, we proceed to proposed method. So here are the framework. We could see here during the online classes, we will collect two types of data set. First is facial expression, and second one is text-based. So from here, facial expression images will be extracted using statistical features. We have here 11 statistical features, while for text-based modality, we plan to use LSTM model. However, we still intend in order to know which algorithm is the best for text-based. From here, we will fuse together the and optimize them. Then next, we will use several classifiers to test the classification process. And the output is focus, confidence, distracted, confusion, and neutral. So here are some other statistical features. While this one is the initial result. This is the example of independent facial images that I've collected using Google Meet in a meeting. So from this data, it shows that the real issues do occur in real-time environment, as mentioned in literature. So we could see here, first issue is face obstacle, where the subject wears spectacles, and here we have hands that prevent the face to be look properly. I mean, we also have different distance between head and camera. So here, the subject is too far, and this is too close. And we also have problem in low resolution, where it's kind of this photos is look a little bit blur. While this one, because of this subject implement the blurred background, so it is look a little bit blur to her image. So these three issues actually can cause badly aligned facial images, which can cause low accuracy in emotion detection. We also have result from text modality, where from the figure, it shows that student sentiment analysis on design thinking concept in producing the AI prototype. The opinion is taken from a feedback survey that asks an open question to justify the effectiveness of an approaches. So these images I get from a paper from my supervisor. So this opinion later being analyzed using in vivo. So what to highlight here is we can see that one of the opinion shows a very negative opinion, where the student stated that I don't agree with listening to people and empathize with them and so on. Then roughly the NVivo do classify this statement as very negative. However, we believe that throughout these overall sentences, this can be defined as neutral statement, not a very negative statement. So from here, we can conclude that actually the way we express opinion might be different and vary depends on our background. So it is good to have an algorithm that can help to classify in a better way, because this might help, especially in online classes. So next, we come to conclusion. So here are the future works that to be done. So I still don't. We still have need to collect data through online classes. Later on, the data itself, we will do a pre-processing and also proceed with the overall research, where to remove occlusion and encounter all the problems in facial images and also in text modality. Later on, we will fuse and create good selection criteria in order to help to gain the most the better accuracy of classification. So here are the timeline of my research. I hope I can, by showing this to you, it can motivate me to follow the timeline. I'm planning to GOT as well as you guys, so I hope can GOT. So apart from research, I would like to share about PGSS of SC, where I believe some of you might join some of our structure course. So if any of you don't know about our existing, so please follow us through our Facebook, and we will further have a lot of structure courses that can help everyone in their research. So I also want to advertise this program, Research Carnival Week, where it last week we do they have an opening ceremony in and in this about this program. So this program consists of two competitions. One is 3MT and also GREC, Graduate Research Exhibition. So feel free to join if you are interested. This can help you in order to gain different opinion about your research. And lastly is please don't forget to submit your progress report later on once it's open the link. So for that, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Syifaa, for the presentation. Some unexpected promotion there at the end.
Sorry.
And we open the Q&A session if anyone has any question or comment.
Okay. Thank you, Syifaa, for sharing. So far, actually, I have go through the slide earlier since she preparing for the next presentation for the correction. Okay. But I would like to emphasize that you must clear with the plan to collect the data. So next, I would like to see the task, the detailed task, and the timeline on how you manage, on how you are going to collect the data during the online class. One, and another part is about the survey. Please come out the draft of the survey or the questionnaire in order to obtain the text-based emotion-oriented survey. I would like to see these another two things. Okay. Maybe Hidayah, maybe Dr. Hidayah, maybe this is your first time listening to what Syifaa has been progressed. So maybe Dr. Hidayah has another opinion for her to improve.
Dr. Roha,
Yes,
sorry,
yes.
I have other meeting. Can I give comment before Dr. Hidayah?
Okay.
Sorry,
Sure, Prof.
because
Sure,
I
Prof.
have other meeting with Dr. Shaliza and Dr. Jahana after this. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
It's okay,
Sorry,
Prof. Silakan.
terima kasih. I'm sorry, Syifaa. I joined quite late just now. Can I have a look at your research problem?
It's just problem. Prof. Okay. Is it clear, Prof? Okay.
All right. I can view it. Okay. Okay. Can I have a look at your in your literature review just now? You have last slide regarding the gap.
The gaps. Sorry. Okay, yeah.
Okay, can you elaborate further? What is the problem regarding correct level of fusion need regarding the accuracy there? Do you have the same research problem in the same problem that you described in your research problem just now?
And in research problem, I do use the word synergy of two different multimodal, where
But you did not link it with accuracy, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I confused. And then can I have a look at your methodology? I think the table that describe your methodology, like your research question, your problem, yeah, this one. Okay. You said that to improve research question 1, to improve existing multimodal emotion. Okay. Then when you're talking about improving, because you are a PhD student, you are improving something, right? But the methodology that you put here there is to apply. So which level of contribution is that? Because if apply in PhD is not a contribution, or when you apply something there, is it something new? How does it? How can we assume it is something new towards the frameworks?
So before this, it's hard to have two modalities in one database. Multimodal database that have facial images and also the text modality. So because of that, most of people do make a different research. It means that emotion detection in terms of text usually being said as semantic analysis. It means that by text itself dependently can detect the emotion. So here, by combining two this like a big like the most used most in order to detect emotion. Usually people don't combine these two types. I mean, these two images and also text are usually being used separately in terms of detecting emotion.
So the term apply there is not that not that suitable. Okay, so it might be because when we're talking about apply, the contribution is like not that high. It's just apply. If you will if you say to investigate the possibility of using this in that environment, that will be much more higher level of contribution. Okay, it's just the term might be you have an idea how to contribute. And then and again, it should be linked to the research problem that you mentioned in chapter 2 and chapter 1 just now. Yeah, it should be tally. And before I end my question, another things that very important in your context here, Syifaa, is the scope, because when we study different type of class different expression, because it will affect different culture express, or their expression are different. Might be for Malaysian culture, that expression is very rude, but for different culture, the same expression is reasonable. So I think that's the thing that you need to put in scope in order to make sure that is one culture. Second is, as you mentioned just now, is the subject of the courses that you, because when you're talking about text, right? Different type of courses using different texts. If you're teaching engineering, there are different type of engineering terms that you need to consider. That's another thing. And then the level of the study as well. Is it you aiming for school student, or a postgraduate study, or undergraduate student, or things like that? Scope should be defined properly, else your research will be too big to cover all type of type of expression and all type of courses. Yeah. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Prof. Very fruitful advice.
Okay, so my comment is that, considering that Syifaa, you are in I understand that you're in 4th semester, so I think you have still a long way to go, considering that there are still pre-processing. You haven't finished pre-processing the data set, and also there's no questionnaire yet. And my advice is, whenever you develop the questionnaire, make sure there's a validation to that questionnaire, because yang tu pun it can be apa Dr. Rohan, dia boleh jadi backfire, it can backfire back. Dia boleh backfire back to you during thesis defense nanti. So
when we deal with somehow the input is coming from the survey. Somehow the examiner potential to question you how you validate the survey, the question itself. That's another big task to validate things, not validate or verify the end result, but in a way, some part or some tasks in the middle need validation as well by the experts. So that's why you have to list down as fast as you can the task and the plan.
The domain expert must be there, so that and also the credentials of that domain expert must be included as well.
Is it okay if the expert are from lecturer from SPSH?
The questions for the online question apa yang tu is for the questions tu is developed to do survey for students ke untuk apa? For student,
For student, yeah.
So
maybe
it's
the lecturer, the subject, the course lecturer can validate for you.
Course lecturer.
The course lecturer can be the domain expert.
Okay, can sedap sikit lah kot.
So is there any questions from the fellow friends?
I have a question.
Not mine.
Okay, so I'm not expert in this field, but I'm still interested to know how do you measure the accuracy of emotion recognition? So like, how do you know they are set, they are met, something like that? So I see the evaluation metric earlier, so maybe you can explain more about that, the true positive rate, something like that.
Okay, so basically we can measure it in a few ways. So we do have researcher before this use like facial action, okay, see, code where it measure either the face, if someone is smiling, so they can detect the few points, on the face. So based on that, they will calculate and shows that the subject is happy because she is smiling. However, we also have the way to measure the emotion by having the different rates of pixel intensity, where I can see that if some people is again smiling, so few of their surface of their face is like nearer to the camera, and sometimes like reflection will counted as low in terms of pixel intensity. So based on that, different pixel intensity can be generated into determining emotion expression. So for this matter, for this research, I plan to use statistical features where it also depending on pixel intensity. So because of still in terms of experimenting, so I would say that different value of statistical features, different value of this different value for each of these features will be tested. Here it truly shows the emotion, and then we will use this set of features and categorize it, of either it is happy, distracted, or confused. We will try to combine the features itself, but basically it is depending on pixel intensity. By answering your question, Ahmad.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Any more questions? So I guess there's no more question. Okay, thank you everyone for the question and comments. Also, thank you again, Syifaa, for the presentation. If there's nothing else, I think we can end our colloquium for today. Okay, thank you everyone for joining today's colloquium, and see you again in the upcoming colloquiums. Assalamualaikum, and you can leave the meeting.